Hi, and welcome to Three Questions with everybody. Carlos Vargas with us from Vargas and Vargas. Hey, Carlos, welcome to the show.
Hey, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation to be here with you.
So I asked you to come on the show. I want to talk a little bit about insurance today. And one of the things I didn't know is there's different types of insurance agents. Can you talk a little bit about that and why there is?
Sure. So there's direct writers, meaning that they work for one company, and then there's insurance brokers. Yeah. So then really we're called independents, which means that we don't represent any one insurance company. We represent our client to many insurance companies. So there's a little bit difference. I started off in the insurance industry 41 years ago as a direct writer, which means I worked for one company. The client came in, I offered him that one product, one price. That's all I get to offer, which was okay because most of those companies are pretty competitive. But when it comes down to, so let's say Kevin has a couple of claims and the insurance company says, hey, Kevin, we're not going to renew your policy. I have no other place to go with you. As an independent agent, I've got 11 companies. So when you call most independent agents, we have 3, 4, 5, 10, 11. We have 11 companies because there's different appetites, multifamilies, older homes, single families. Each company has a different appetite for those type of markets. And we write insurance all over Massachusetts. So from Amesbury to P-Town, all the way out to the Berkshires. So we need to have enough different companies so that we're really competitive. And when that company says, hey, Kevin, you had too many claims, Carlos will say, okay, Kevin, we're going to move you to company B. Sure. So we get, instead of having just plain vanilla with all the toppings, we have many different flavors and we can throw toppings on. So
that's awesome.
I like ice cream.
Yeah, as do I. So Carlos, I still get confused with my homeowner's insurance because I look at it and sometimes I'm just like, hey, but my house I could sell it for more than it feels like my policy is covering. So sometimes that freaks me out and I have to, have it explained to me again. Why is there a difference?
So the difference between like market value, we're looking at all these homes selling for $750,000, $1 million. But the insurance policy is there to replace the house. So when you purchase a home, like if you're buying a single family home in Newton compared to a single family home in Avon, right? Same square footage, that Newton property is going to be 3, 4, 5 times than a property up in Lawrence or Lynn or Avon or Brockton, because the market value dictates the schools, the police. There's a lot of things that people say, hey, I would pay that type of a premium for a home in Newton than I would pay for an Avon or Lawrence or Lowell. So the policy is there to replace the house. So the square footage is a square footage. So the cost of construction goes up. We hear the price of lumber going up. So, but the policy is there to replace the house, not to pay you for the market value. So that 200 square foot home in Avon should be insured for $300,000, $350,000. That Avon property that's worth $500,000, we should be insuring it for $200,000 to $300,000. That 2,000 square foot home in Newton, that we should be insuring it for $200,000 to $300,000. That's now worth a million. We should still be insuring it for the replacement cost, because if you read your policy, the insurance company will only pay to the replacement cost. So the market value includes the community, the land, the septic system, the foundation. That's all part of what you're buying or selling, but that's not going to be destroyed in the event of a fire.
I've only had that explained to me like 4 times, Carlos.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, you don't live in this world, so yeah.
You want to make sure you're properly covered, which brings me into my next question. I see so many people, they focus on saving money. Yeah. Carlos, I may be one of the only people in the world that all I want to talk to you about is, do I have enough coverage? Am I insured properly? Because often, I had it with a family member. They had a larger deductible on their auto policy. They got into an accident. And I had to, come up with that money.
Right.
Sadly, 3 weeks later, they got into another accident. Yeah. And the second time, they didn't have the deductible. But they're like, well, I wanted to save money, so I took the higher deductible. I'm like, but you don't have that type of cash in case you get in an accident. So it's more than just the cost, right? You got to consider your risk.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you have a second home, maybe you have a pool, maybe the liability should be higher. Maybe you have a lot of collectibles. It should never, insurance is insurance. And there's only a difference of 5 to 8% from company to company. I mean, some companies are ridiculously priced because they don't want to write in that community, but most companies are very close. You really should deal with a local independent insurance agent. And I say local because we're local in the Boston area, but we insure homes from all over Massachusetts. But when you deal with a local independent agent, we can look at your specific needs and tailor your insurance to those needs. Like I had a client of mine go online, the company will remain unnamed, and he said, Carlos, I saved 50% on my insurance. Now, this is an educated person. I said, oh my God, 50%, that's huge. You hate to lose clients. So, hey, would you mind sending me your coverage page? Absolutely. We canceled this current policy. He went, it was a 6-month policy. It's going to be 50% cheaper. He went with a 6-month policy. He had all deductibles and the glass and all. Like for $8, you're going to have a $500 deductible on your windshield.
Yeah.
The windshield is $500, $700 to have it fixed. You're saving $8 a year. So penny wise, pound foolish. We eventually wrote him back. He left them a 1-star review and saying, hey, I was deceived and all this other stuff. So it's but again, there's many different ways to save money, but the focus should be on, hey, this is my biggest investment. It should be, am I covered correctly? If something happens, if my dog gets out and bites someone and I only have minimal coverage, am I going to have to come up with the home equity line to take care of that lawsuit? So it really, and we review everybody's insurance. It's funny, I was saying this earlier today. Every single year when your policy comes up, we compare it against the rest of our companies. We'll say, hey, Kevin, yours went up 3% or 8% or 9%. Now we start shopping around and we'll send you an email. We'll stay on. Most independent agents do this, nothing special for us, but most independent agents will say, hey, Kevin, has anything changed? Hey, your premium went up 40% or 14%. We can move you to company B, keep you the coverage the same, and save you 3, 4, 5%, so.
But I really like that question, Carlos. It's really simple to you. Has anything changed? Right. Or maybe, you know what, hey, I went out and bought my wife a 10-carat diamond ring.
Right.
Right. I'll have it listed. Or, hey, Carlos, I had a great summer. We just put a pool in, bud. I'm like, well, Kev, I need to know that because it's going to change your risk. God forbid something happens.
Yeah. So or I just started a business. I see people coming and going out of my home. I'm like, oh my God, we need to put, because there's no coverage under your policy for anything like that. We need to put a rider on your policy. We need to maybe add a separate policy altogether. But again, has anything changed? Every single year we send off an email saying, has anything changed? Call us.
Because often you're like, oh, geez, Carlos, I forgot to tell you this. Things do change and stuff without that simple question. And you said, hey, we're running a business out of the house and people are coming in and out of the house all day. Well, okay, we need to know that and stuff. So, Carlos, what's the best way for people to reach out to you? How can I learn more?
They can call me at the office, 617-298-0655. We work in teams. It's quotes at vargasinsurance.com or just vargasinsurance.com. We have 40 years worth of content there. We share things regularly. You can reach our team, our service team, our claims team, everything. Vargas, VARGAS, insurance spelled out.com.
Carlos, I really appreciate you taking a few minutes to jump on the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. Thank you for the invitation. Have a great day.
Bye now.